feedlot. You know, the corrals are going to be provided for one day or overnight, you know, just enough time to make sure that they're being harvested either the next day or that same day. So the size of the facility, you know, again, just as Andy explained, because we have a capacity of 50, that limits everything. The size of the land, that limits. And so we are not looking at anything but our local communities. You know, we want to make sure that we have that local dollar stay local, and that local meat, you know, is making these ranchers, you know, some income. You know, that's exactly right, Carlos.
Hello folks, I'm John Adams. I've got a question for the room. Show of hands, everybody that's in favor of this program. Show of hands, everybody that's against it. So, you know, I've been involved in a bunch of the opposition against this thing, and I've heard so many comments in the last week. Jillian, I don't even know how I got involved in all this. But to give you a little bit of idea where I'm coming from. I grew up here in Taos. I graduated from Taos High School in 1980. I left for 27 years and I worked in either the feed yard business, the packing business, or related businesses that supplied both of them for that 27 years. I managed feed yards. I went through a management training process for feed yards. So I know intimately about feed yards. So if you have a question about a feed yard, I'll be happy to answer it. We don't have any anywhere even close to us. So for those of you that may be confused about capacities of a plant like this thing's tiny. This is nothing. This plant has been this last week has been compared to Tyson plants, JBS plants. Their kill floor is 5 acres. I mean, I've done plant surveys in these plants. I've spent days and weeks and months inside these plants. Unfortunately, I didn't like it, but I had to because my boss told me to. So if you have questions about that, ask somebody you know in the room that has experience with these. Don't trust what the New York Times or CNN or whatever. Taos News, I'm sorry. Taos News, man, they get some stuff wrong. Show of hands, who's involved in regenerative agriculture directly today? That's good. Anybody know where regenerative agriculture came from?
Rodale.
I'm sorry?
Rodale.
I couldn't hear that.
The Rodale.
No, it came from Alan Savory. He was the pioneer. Holistic management.
When was that?
They had a big split, huh?
When was that?
Oh, Alan Savory? It's way back,
I'm
60s.
laughing at you.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. I mean, it's way
So
back.
am I.
If you really want to look something kind of cool up, I don't know if you guys listen to TED Talk. I do intermittently, but go in there and look up Alan Savory on desertification, and write that down, look it up. It's really interesting. But there's lots of things that have spawned off. HMI in Albuquerque, Corvera Coalition. Those are all they've all spawned off of Alan Savory's principles. Regenerative ag is built on the principles of Alan Savory. Who knows what the #1 principle for Alan Savory was? As it really applies to our culture today. Huh?
I said, I don't even know that cat.
Building soil. How do you build soil? How do you trap carbon? How do you trap carbon in the soil? What's the very best way to trap carbon in the soil? Huh? Done correctly. I'll be the first one to tell you that overgrazing or undergrazing is just as detrimental as correct grazing. So there's a few people in this room that I know that do that on a regular basis. Mark over here has done it for years. Who buys their meat from SIDS? One person? Oh, okay. Is it good? I haven't bought it there in a long time. Is it good? Is it good beef? No, I'm sorry. I'm specifically talking about the beef. Is it good?
I can't do this kind of stuff.
So, yeah.
So do you know where it came from?
Colorado.
No. Those were the few of the people that were on the board initially, but yeah. So it actually comes from Sweetgrass Co-op via La Montanita Co-op, which has a distribution warehouse in Albuquerque, and they supply SIDS. I don't know who's growing for it now. I was on the original board. We started Sweetgrass Co-op. So you can look their website up and you can look up their protocols on what, if you're curious about what it takes to produce the kind of beef that you're talking about. So this information is out there. It's out there if you just know where to look. That's my purpose for talking to y'all tonight, is just to give you the information to find the people that actually have the correct information. And the only thing I'm going to say about the corrals is I've been asked to look at this corral situation for the, excuse me, for the slaughter plant. It's small. It hasn't even, the final design hasn't even been made yet. But it is relatively small. It is based around a 50 head capacity. Now that's 50 total head. That could be a mixture of sheep, cattle, pigs, whatever. It could be. And so for those of you that are confused about that, you have to keep those classes of animals separate. So there's going to be a lot of individual pens. There is going to be a lot of work that goes into making these pens animal friendly. I mean, I'm not. The principles are hers, yes. There's actually a guy that's taken her principles and expanded on them, and she's gone. But it is low stress management, and so all of that's being factored into this.
Okay, great, thank you. To allow everyone, thank you.
She's alive,
for
she's still good up there, she's not dead.
Yeah.
She's very much alive.
Okay, I misspoke. She's not dead, but she's not working anymore.
Speaking at a conference,
Okay, guys, we've got another question. Order in the court.
Hi, my name is Coral Ann. I'm with Taos Village Farm, and I am 7 years new to Taos, but I'm married to a 5th generation Taoseña. And I am mostly worried. It's really nice to hear that everybody's raising their hands and is a proponent of this project. But as a person that's very networked with this community, as a hairdresser, and anyway, I get out there, I'm concerned about the people petitioning it. I think they have very strong voices that are loud and also possibly fake news. And I'm, scared because Taos really has a great way to build those roots and make chaos, as you've seen in other situations with other businesses. So my question is, how are we getting the truth out, and how are we going to market what's really happening? Because I think there's a lot of homeowners that are in the area and other people that are very concerned about what the slaughterhouse will smell like, what it will look like, how it will affect their property value. And as a person that we take our meat all the way to Canyon City, Colorado to be properly processed USDA, we lose so much money in how many runs we have to take our goats to, that our meat has to go to a higher price, $14 a pound right now, which is actually pretty good if you look online. And so I really want this to happen for so many reasons, but mostly what I want to happen is I want the people that are resisting this to know the truth. And how do we market that? How do we get that out there? How do we let locals know why this is a great thing? So that's my question.
Good question. So it's by having these forums, it's by having these listening sessions, it's by posting our, it's by posting in our webpage. Again, it's a TCEDC project, that people are going to the town and the county to get answers. This is where you need to get answers. There's a fact sheet going around, and it's an ongoing fact sheet. As things change and as things get accomplished, that's going to be updated, so we are, going to be ongoing. We need to respond. I think right now it's been very one-sided, and that petition going around, the the roundtable group that we presented to earlier, the comment was, that petition should have happened after you got all the facts, after. That petition is something that we're still questioning the legality of because they don't even state their counties, so are they really county residents, So I think that we keep our efforts and our minds in the right position. We share our stories, we make sure that everybody you talk to, you approach them with your story and why it is important, and we counteract that, All of this stuff, I'm not a social media person. I don't have a Facebook. I don't have Twitter. I don't have anything, So, the stuff that I've heard that is going on Facebook, is very deterring, and I know that, it's something that we have to inform and educate, We're not going to be part of the mitote, as they say here. We can't waste any energy on that. We've got to continue to move forth. This is a project. They keep calling it a proposed project. It's a happening project. It's going forward, This is the commitment from TCEDC to the ranchers. And so, that we have to share our stories. If you guys have ways that you feel we should be moving forward, let's hear them, Let's see what you guys feel we need to move forward. We're here for you guys. Jillian?
Gerland, thank you for caring about getting the word out, because John and I'm actually 20 and he's actually 30. But the last week of communicating with people has aged us immensely. Anyone who was in the last meeting noticed that I started to lose my temper a little bit because I have been talking about this so much and trying so hard to dispel all of the misinformation. There's only so much Mercedes can do. There's only so much I can do. I've been joking. Unfortunately, there are no grants out there to respond to misinformation and crazy people. I cannot go to Taos Community Foundation and ask them to pay for my time to communicate to the community. So we need this to be a real civic engagement effort. We need your help. There was that op-ed in the Taos News a couple weeks ago that was really should have been better fact-checked, frankly, by the editor. It was rife with misinformation. Sorry, Taos News. And we need lots of op-eds talking about what this means to you, what this means for our community, what this means for our school system, what this means for our farmers market and our restaurants and our land-based communities and our acequias and carbon sequestration and climate change and all the things that this can help with. We need your voices. So please, help me and John get off of Facebook and stop taking phone calls and emails. Please get out there and get your voice heard. If there are any facts you don't have, this woman has every fact known. All the people who have been coming to these listening sessions, she has shared every single, I could probably, if I thought about it, tell you the physical dimensions of every part of this plant because she has presented them to us so many times. There are so many people with the right information out there. So please, if you don't have it, ask questions from people who actually know what they're talking about and get that word out there. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Matt Sexton. I bought Adrian Cannon's AA Ranch.
Yay, good friend.
I'll just speak out loud because there's feedback problem. So I had, couple weeks ago, I had 31 sheep. Now I have 52. And so I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with all the meat on my property. I'm wondering what the update is for when I'll be able to bring animals in for processing.
Good question. I'd like to know too. There's been so many constraints, and obviously, we got started on a project through the pandemic, not as an answer to the pandemic, but as a known fact that it was needed. So now we need utilities out there. We're working through a LEDA process to be able to work, on getting the utilities out there. The mobile Matanza is back in town. The mobile Matanza is here and ready to go. The 2 units are in place and ready to go. So once we get the utilities in, then I think we could be able to start on a small scale, with what we have going on. There's a couple of things that needs to happen. We've got a capital outlay request out there. So it's our hope to be up and going in the fall of this year in a small scale, being able to meet, the demands of this group here, per se. Again, don't have all of the control in our power. There's so many factors that have to play into that. But that is our hope, that we understand the urgency, absolutely. That we are out there, going to the legislative sessions and plugging in with the proper people, that we are getting the word out, that we make sure that, we have the numbers and that we represent properly for what's going on in our community. All of that is happening. So it's definitely not lack of effort. It is not lack of work or ethic. The belief in this has been full force. We have a couple of our staff, that get up in 3 a.m. thinking, oh heck, what's going to happen today, so that you guys share your stories and that we hurdle through these things is essential, because we can focus on the job at hand. And the job at hand is getting that project on the floor, making sure that you're taken care of, and that these needs are being met. So, it's fall of 2024 is our hope. We'll, leave it up to that. It's not a lack of effort.
September, October?
Probably October, so, that's part of the work group, that we need to try and decide, the best time for things to happen. And the sooner the better is the answer for most everyone anyway, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I wanted to respond to your statement. It's volunteerism. The solution is volunteers, and we don't need people to volunteer 40 hours a week. We only need people to give us the time that they can afford to help us move this initiative forward. We have your names. You've been very helpful in putting your names and contact information down there. There are things that we can organize to help you help us. But volunteerism is one of the ways that nonprofits exist. And just one other point that I wanted to make in response to, I forgot your name, sir. John. There's some context here that many people are not aware of. One is that when Mercedes mentions 1 or 2 years of processing this funding and getting the Matanza going, it's not 1 or 2 years. This has been going since 2005. And it was the result of research that Patty Martinson, Terry, and myself did on how to stimulate the local livestock ranchers in northern New Mexico by lowering their costs and helping them bring their product to the local market efficiently so that they can make a profit. And the original proposal that I wrote with Patty and Terry was funded for $500,000 in 2005. The other things the thing that people don't know is it was running for 15 years, right? 5. 5, 10, whatever. But that pilot funding provided TCEDC with very important information that we shared with USDA, New Mexico Department of Agriculture, and refunded this program several times through the support of the New Mexico Department of Agriculture and the USDA for those years. So this is not something that just sprung up like a mushroom. This was the direct result of a concentrated and principled community development program, funding and implementation. So those are just a few things that I wanted to provide in terms of context for this. And we need volunteers, that's the other thing.
9 years ago to look at land, and one of the first people I met was Mercedes, and we talked about this program, and she was looking for funding then. How many people here have a Facebook page and use it? Okay, you gotta step up and you gotta be bold. The reason I am here today is because I saw the notice for the roundtable meeting. I received a petition online, and I saw the notice for this meeting. And then I blew back at the people who had sent me the petition to sign. A lot of them are very liberal friends of mine. By the way, I'm a raving progressive, but I understand how important this is to our community and the survival of the people here. There is serious stuff coming at us, and we have to be ready. So what I want to say to you is I will volunteer, and I will help you with your PR, but I need everybody here who has a Facebook page to push back. This is why it's important to my family. This is why it's important to my community. This is not new. There's been a year opportunity of input. Please catch up with us. Get a fact sheet. That's your message to them. And Mercedes, I'm going to see you tomorrow to get that fact sheet. We're going to get on the radio, and we're going to start talking